number 7, Barry Sheen, who finished second in the Argentine to Kenny Roberts and is riding the brand new 1982 500cc Works Yamaha. Alongside him, number 16 is the ex-British champion, Keith Hewan. But right alongside Sheen, you see the man with the star on his helmet is Roger Marshall. It is 13 laps, and away they go, and into the lead goes Dale Singleton with Roger Marshall. And they go into the right-hander at paddock together. Sheen is in about 5th position. Well back there is Roger Marshall leading, and with him, number 43 is the American rider Mike Baldwin, who is riding a 1000cc Honda. And Roger Marshall is a man who has a lot to prove. Double British champion. He's been in the Transatlantic Trophy team before, but this is the first year that he's had a works ride, and he needs to show that he deserves it. So it is Marshall in the lead. Baldwin on the Honda, the American, in second place. Cresting the rise, 11 Marshall, 43 Baldwin, 19 Freddie Spencer, 18 Graham Wood, and in 5th position is Barry Sheen on the 500 Yamaha. And at the end, coming up to the end of lap 1, Freddie Spencer is up into 2nd position on the Works Honda. And with me in the box is Rick Titone, representing the American Motorcycle Association. What do you think will be Spencer's tactics, Rick?
Well, Freddie will probably lay back 1 or 2 laps and get the feel of the racetrack. The weather is changing a little, and I think he'll hold there until he can see his open way to go.
Well, he's in 2nd place now, and the battle is on, because he's down to 3rd, and ahead of him 2nd is Barry Sheen, and Barry Sheen has fought his way up from about 7th position halfway around the 1st lap to 2nd position. And now, is he going to take his teammate Roger Marshall, who is leading? He doesn't have to, but knowing Barry, and knowing that Barry has got Freddie Spencer behind him, and that there is a considerable needle match in the nicest possible way between these two, I think Barry will try and get ahead of Marshall. Realise, though, that this is not just a race to win for an individual, it's a race for each of the 2 teams of 8 representing the USA and Great Britain to get maximum points. And Marshall then on a 1000cc 4-stroke Suzuki is ahead of Sheen on a full Works 500cc Yamaha, and it looks as though those two are starting to get away a little bit from Spencer. 20-year-old Freddie Spencer, number 19 on the Honda. Then it's Baldwin, so it's 2 British riders leading 2 Americans, and in 5th and 6th position it's 2 more British riders, as round the right-hander there goes Steve Parrish. Steve Parrish, incidentally, has taken the place of Ron Haslam, who is out of the race after having a very nasty crash in practice. He's quite all right. So Sheen leads now, and Freddie Spencer goes ahead of Roger Marshall at paddock into the 3rd lap. So it is a British rider leading an American. The British rider Marshall is in 3rd position. Then the American Baldwin is in 4th place, number 43, and there he is. Round the right-hander at Druids. Now they plunge down Graham Hill into Graham Hill Bend, and I'll put the watch now to see how fast Barry Sheen is going. And now they're getting quite spread out. There's about 15 seconds between number 7, the stylish ex-double world champion Sheen, who looks over his shoulder and he sees right behind him Spencer. The race is really on now. We are on lap 3 out of 13. And there's going to be another one of these races later this afternoon. 2 legs at Brands Hatch today, at Mallory on Sunday, at Oulton Park on Monday, to decide who wins the 1982 Transatlantic Trophy. Great Britain has won it 7 times. America has won it 4 times. Rick Titone, what about Freddie Spencer now?
Well, I think Freddie's just trying to hold his position and look for his opening. He's raced against Barry before. He respects Barry. He knows what he can do, and I think he'll just hold there until he sees the opening he needs.
And how about Baldwin in 4th position, chasing Roger Marshall?
Well, that's a change in plans. Baldwin was supposed to be our rabbit. He was supposed to get out there and run with Barry, and then the rest of the team fill the midpoints, but maybe he got a bad start.
There is Mike Baldwin, and just behind him, Graham Wood, the British rider on the Yamaha. So it's Britain, America. Britain, America, the first 4. Then Britain is 5 with Wood. Britain is 6 with John Newbold. Britain is 7 with Bob Smith. and America is 8 with Dale Singleton. And I can't do mental arithmetic that quickly, but I would say that Britain at the present moment on lap 4 out of 13 has got a slight edge over the American team, but there's a long way to go. And look at the riders' knees when you can. They look very lumpy and bulgy. That's because they all have heavy padding, and some of them have special plastic football studs on their leathers so that they can literally rub on the ground and get... There's Sheen doing it, getting his right knee right down onto the ground, back into the saddle, down behind the windscreen, still sitting off the saddle so that he's correctly placed to take the second half of the right-hander. And where is Freddie Spencer behind him now? There he is, still very, very close. Barry Sheen into clear, into Clark Curve, 4th gear, 110 miles an hour. Accelerate up, 5th gear, 6th gear, into the Brabham Straight. Slow down, crank it over, 130 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour round Paddock Bend. Accelerate up Halewood Hill. Down into 2nd gear for Druids, the slowest corner on the course, 60 miles an hour. Freddie Spencer still chasing Sheen, and there is Spencer in the background as Sheen drops down Graham Hill. And Barry Sheen has already won a race in the Transatlantic Trophy Series 8 times. He is top scorer since the series began in 1971. It looks as though he's going to make it 9. Now, what is the gap between number 7, Barry Sheen leading, number 19, Freddie Spencer in 2nd place? There it is. Behind Spencer should be still number 11, Roger Marshall on the 1000cc 4-stroke Suzuki, and it is. And there is Baldwin, and right behind Baldwin and ahead of Graham Wood is number 5, John Newbold. Now, John Newbold was the top point scorer last year. 37 is the British reserve, Gary Lingham. He is doing well. He is in 7th position. There is John Newbold, nicknamed Joe 90, who went over to the TT for the first time last year and did brilliantly well. 3rd in the 500cc, 4th in the Formula 1 and Classic in his very first year in the Isle of Man. And there is John Newbold, number 5, who comes from South Normanton, a butcher by trade when he's got time to do it, which isn't very much these days. And that's Graham Wood behind him, the British riders. And as they go by, there is the race leader, Barry Sheen. So it's Britain leading in the form of Sheen. In 2nd place, America, Freddie Spencer. In 3rd position, Britain, Roger Marshall. In 4th place, America, Baldwin. In 5th position, Britain, John Newbold. In 6th position, Britain, Graham Wood. In 7th position, Britain, Gary Lingham. Then in the next position, Bob Smith for Britain, and across the line and into another lap. And this is the 12th, the last lap but one. Barry Sheen leads. Well, Sheen certainly seems to have regained all his previous sparkle and vigour, which had gone a bit over the last 2 years. And now Marshall and Baldwin absolutely together in 3rd and 4th places. So Mike Baldwin, the American, is putting on a tremendous charge on the last lap but one. Any comment, Rick Titone?
Well, this is the telling hour, and if anybody's going to make it, Mike Baldwin will do the job.
Mike Baldwin on a 1000cc 4-stroke Honda against Roger Marshall from Britain. Baldwin, the American, of course, who a couple of years ago broke his leg very badly and was out of racing for nearly 2 years. Got back into racing, into the Honda Endurance team, and this year he is riding with his teammate Roberto Pietri, the Venezuelan, who is in this race for the Honda USA team. Marshall and Baldwin together, and any moment now, there, number 7, Barry Sheen, is coming into Clark Curve for the last time but one to start his 13th and last lap, looking as though he is going to make it 9 Transatlantic Trophy Series wins in his superb career. Second and only just beaten by Kenny Roberts, his teammate in the Argentine Grand Prix this year. Then he came back to Britain and superbly won 2 races at Cadwell Park on his 4-year-old 750 Yamaha last weekend. Very much in the groove in practice here, and his tail is very, very well up, and he has been tipped by no less a rider than Kenny Roberts for world champion honours this year. This is the battle for third, Marshall and Baldwin, with Newbold just behind them. Don't forget that in second place is Freddie Spencer still. So Britain's first and third, Americans second and fourth, and we're looking at the battle for third. There is the leader, Sheen. Sheen nonchalantly waving his hand to the crowd while he's still racing on the last lap. They're going to love that. Something like 130. He shrugs his shoulders. Where have they all gone, he says to himself. Something like 130 horsepower underneath his right hand. There we are, fellas. Well done, Barry Sheen. This is nonchalance if ever I saw it. Barry touring home. That's his 9th win in the Transit. Now, Spencer is going to be second, but who is going to be third? Freddie Spencer approaching the line on the NS500 Honda. Where is he? Where is Spencer? Spencer is missing. There's Spencer. Freddie Spencer walking in, obviously telling the crowd, I don't know what happened, he said. He shrugs his shoulders, and within there the American team captain Dave Aldana. There is Roberto Pietri, the Venezuelan, and I wish I could lip read. I can't tell you what Spencer's saying, but a bitter blow for America, for Freddie Spencer and for Honda on the last lap of the first leg of the 1982 Transatlantic Trophy Series. Out of the race goes Spencer, but a fine win for Barry Sheen then, who incidentally also put up the fastest lap of the race, just a whisker off his own lap record, to get 16 points for Britain. Laps, rain clouds overhead. Great Britain leads by 42 points, and Freddie Spencer is out of the American team for this race at any rate. There's the front rank lineup, and it's a good start this time for Barry Sheen, who with Roger Marshall leads into Paddock Bend on lap 1. Up Halewood Hill, and in third position it's Mike Baldwin from the American team, who's had a new engine put in his Honda since race 1. We blew a valve in the first race, and Mike Baldwin is holding third position as they come down Halewood Hill into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, and it's still Sheen, Marshall, Baldwin, and it looks like Graham Wood in fourth position. It is Graham Wood. So British riders first, second and fourth, and here is Sheen, Marshall, Baldwin, Wood. Roberto Pietri, the Venezuelan, is in fifth position, and there is the new American rider, number 3, Alan Ward, bringing up the rear in his first race outside America, except for Canada. Sheen, Marshall, like Sheen, is in absolutely superb form. He's on the big 1000cc Formula 1 Suzuki. There's Baldwin, there's Pietri, who had ignition trouble in his Suzuki. There's Ewan on the ex-Randy Mamola Suzuki from last year. And there is Alan Ward, number 3 on the Mark 7 Suzuki. And Barry Sheen has got something really to go for in this race, because there is a Marlborough Grand Slam prize of £20,000 if any rider can win all 6 races in the series, the 2 at Brands Hatch, the 2 at Mallory Park on Sunday, and the 2 at Alton Park on Monday. And the nearest that anybody has ever got to doing that was Kenny Roberts one year when he won 4 races. So, on lap 2, out of 13, Barry Sheen leads for Britain, as he did all the way through the closing stages of race 1. Sheen, Marshall, Baldwin, Wood, round the left-hander at Surtees. And Pietri is taking Graham Wood. There's Baldwin in third position. Is he? Yes, and Pietri's moved up into fourth position. Number 88. Down to fifth goes Graham Wood. Down to sixth goes Keith Ewing. And what a terrific scrap behind them for 7th place. Pietri, one of these incredible people who seems to do well at everything. Number 88, Roberto Pietri, now in 4th position. Black belt judo, flies his own helicopter, has his own TV production company, lives in Hollywood, California, and races a motorcycle superbly. He's in 4th place, Roberto Pietri. And there, spread out, in line, there's Pietri. Keith Ewan is ahead of Graham Wood as well. So Keith Ewan has moved ahead of his British teammate. Graham Wood is to 5th position. Down to 6th goes Graham Wood. Aldana is in 7th place. Dale Singleton is in 8th position. Aldana, the American captain, and Singleton is American too. So it's Great Britain with Barry Sheene leading. Roger Marshall, Great Britain 2nd. Baldwin, America 3rd. Pietri, America 4th. Then behind Pietri is Keith Ewan for Britain in 5th position. And there's Roberto. And through a lovely bit of passing. Keith Ewan really knows the racing line at Brands Hatch. And don't think Roberto Pietri, who is now battling for 4th position with Keith Ewan, does not know these British circuits, of course, anything like as well as Keith Ewan. Pietri rode here last year, but it was the first time he had. So it's a fine performance. And let us not forget also that these American riders, at best, only get about 7 road racing rides in their own country per year, whereas the British riders can turn out every weekend in the racing period from about March through to October. Keith Ewan then really showing style. The ex-British champion is now up into 4th position. And there's the leader, Barry Sheene, probably seeing those £20,000 notes already starting to show before his eyes, although he's still got 4 races to go at the end of this one. There's Ewan in 3rd position behind Roger Marshall. So the leading American rider is actually the Venezuelan, number 88, Pietri, who, as Rick Titone just said, really does seem to have got the swing of the Mark 7 Suzuki. This is his first real ride on it, this meeting, and he's now closed the gap between himself and Keith Ewan, who is in 3rd place. Pietri, a magnificent win in the 200-mile race at Imola. And watch these riders, see the way they get their legs right off the bike, they move right over to the side, they get out of the saddle, and they just let their knee kiss the tarmac, and Pietri is through. Up into 3rd place, overlapped by Keith Ewan, both of them with their knees scraping along the ground, and they often have to buy new levers, go into Planet Bend on the 8th lap, absolutely together. Pietri in 3rd place, Keith Ewan in 4th. Barry Sheene leads. Roger Marshall is in 2nd place. In 5th place it is Mike Baldwin. In 6th place for Britain it is Graham Wood. In 7th place for Britain it is Bob Smith. In 8th place for Britain it is Steve Henshaw. In 9th place for America it is Dale Singleton. And so it looks, doing some quick mental arithmetic, as though both the lead and the midfield places are heavily packed by British riders. Roberto Pietri for America is in 3rd position. Mike Baldwin for America is in 5th position. And then we go down to Dale Singleton, who is 9th. So Britain must be leading on points at the moment, but what a scrap. Now Keith Ewan goes through to 3rd. Or does he? He does not. Pietri, number 88, in 3rd position for America. Keith Ewan, number 16, on the ex-Randy Mamola, who finished 2nd in the World Championship last year, Suzuki, in 4th place. And this is Barry Sheene, the race leader, on his 9th lap out of 13, on his way to a 2nd win in the series. And just look at the gap. Barry Sheene put up the fastest lap in the first leg, 1 minute 35.2 seconds, a speed of 98.83 miles an hour, which was 1/5 of a second off his own all-time lap record of 99.04 miles an hour, and he wasn't even trying by his standards. And Ewan is up to 3rd position. Keith Ewan is up to 3rd position. There he is, number 16. Keith Ewan has displaced the Venezuelan representative in the American team, Roberto Pietri, who goes down to 4th place. ahead of 5th place man, American Mike Baldwin. There's Baldwin, number 43. Behind him in 6th place, Graham Wood for Britain. This is undoubtedly the race of the race, and Pietri just loses his foot off the left footrest. It doesn't seem to have done him any harm. He's retaken 3rd position as they come out of Surtees to Pilgrim's Drop. Keith Hewen watching points, watching where Pietri heels the machine over, watches his racing line, where he brakes, where he changes gear. And Mike Baldwin, meantime, is closing up on both of them. Baldwin with the new engine in his 1000cc Honda. That may seem a little unfair, a 1000cc Honda against two 500cc machines in front of him. The Suzuki's of Pietri, number 88, in 3rd position, and Hewen, number 16, in 4th. But it's a much heavier bike, and it's that much more difficult to ride. And Graham Wood is closing up now. There are the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th men, and the man in the blue and white leathers is Graham Wood for Britain in 6th position. And not so far behind Graham Wood, who is 6th, is Bob Smith for Britain, number 1, the British champion, in 7th position. So America has lost a place, Britain has gained 1, and Graham Wood, number 18, riding the Fowlers of Bristol Yamaha, the Dennis Trollope entered machine, has now moved up another place. And he's chasing Roberto Pietri, who is in 4th position. Pietri, the class of the field. Why do you think Rick Pietri is going so well in this race in comparison with the first?
Well, because it was the first ride he had on that Suzuki, and now he's getting used to it and he's handling it much better, and we expect to see him do even better when we get to Mallory, and hopefully the long course at Alton, he can really let it run.
Great friend of Barry Sheen is Roberto Pietri, and there is the master, and I use the word advisedly, looking over to see where the opposition is, and that's the nearest opposition. And Barry, who is not only a master tactician and a superb rider, but he's at it again. He's doing the friendly wave even before the last lap now. But I was saying, he's not only a master tactician and he's on his last lap, but he's a super businessman. And if I know Barry Sheen, he will be thinking of that Marlborough bonus of £20,000 now, as well as the riding, if he can keep up his race-winning form at Brands Hatch over the Sunday races at Mallory and the Monday races at Alton Park, which you will, of course, be able to see on BBC television. Barry Sheen, last lap, 500cc Works Yamaha. 3rd, Hewen. 4th, Pietri. 5th, Wood. 6th, Baldwin. 7th, Bob Smith. And there go the 3rd to 7th men round the slowest corner on the course at Druids, down Graham Hill, round Graham Hill Bend, along the Cooper Straight, back into 2nd gear for the 60-mile-an-hour Surtees left-hander, into Pilgrim's Drop and up to 140 miles an hour as Sheen goes round Westfield Bend. Roger Marshall still behind him in 2nd place. 2-stroke 500cc leads 4-stroke 1000cc, both ridden by British riders, and Barry Sheen is actually coming up to lap Alan Ward, the American rider. He won't quite lap him, but give him another lap and he certainly would have. And Barry Sheen waved home by the crowd as Alan Ward starts his last lap. Barry Sheen finishes his last lap to win for 2 races in succession, to give Britain 32 points from his efforts alone. But what a battle for 3rd position. It's Keith Hewen going into the last corner on the last lap in 3rd place, ahead of Roberto Pietri from America, who's trying to take that 3rd place from him. They're coming into the line together, and as they go across, it is Hewen 3rd, Pietri 4th, Wood 5th, Bob Smith in 6th position. In 7th place, and he's dropped right back, is Mike Baldwin, and it is an ecstatic Barry Sheen giving the victory wave to the crowd all the way round the circuit.